Alright, so you've just signed up to the WoodFire app. What you're looking at here is the Blaze tier, which includes all the features. So if you're on a lower tier, such as Spark or Kindle, you may see some of these fields or links are not available or grayed out. Right now, you're looking at the dashboard. So if you click around or go somewhere else and you want to return here, you just go back to the upper left corner and you click the WoodFire app and it brings you to the dashboard. What you see here is a series of just information, action, and just what's going on in the app for your company. You can change these by customizing your dashboard and choosing which features you want available, which cards you want available. We have the clock in, clock out, so you can clock in, say you're just on the yard. Maybe you have assigned tasks for like a labor or day labor person. You can track that when they start and stop those, and then they can, so then once they get off the yard, they can clock out, and you know how long they were there, plus you know how long each task took them that day. If someone's an hourly employee, you can just, say clock in hourly. Then there's new quote, which opens up the call screen. Here is a help and support button, the message icon. This way we can see, if you have any questions or suggestions or bugs, you can send a message here and we'll get back to you. And then lastly here is just if you want to change it from light to dark. And of course we have a search bar where you can search anything inside the app as far as your customer database or products, and then a hide menu button if you don't need that. Alright, first thing I would recommend is, I know you want to get in and you want to set everything up or you want to just start using it. The easiest way to do that is to go to the quick start and just see step by step what you need to set up in the app. Settings is where you're going to want to begin and just work your way from top to bottom. So here we have the company information. Fill this out. This may be a string of numbers. What you can do is you can enter in your own URL slug, and what that means is there's going to be, for the Kindle and Blaze tier, you're going to have custom quote and messaging links, and this is a way you can put in your personal business name. If by chance these have to be unique, so if by chance if the business name isn't available, you can just put in your city at the end. You can put in a number or whatnot. It just has to be lowercase with dashes. Do note that there is no real save button. The app automatically saves the information. You just have to make sure you click out of the box and then it saves. Upload your company logo. Again, you can show and hide these on your forms or invoices. Make sure to set your time zone so your calendar is set properly. You set your tax rate if you're charging and collecting taxes. And by the way, with products and services, you can choose if tax is to be added, if you're not charging tax on these items, or if tax is included in the items. So we'll see that in the product and services setup. Invoice settings, we set how long they can go without paying before they have to pay you, and then if they go past the grace period of 30 days, then they can add a late fee to that. Deposit. This is used when customers schedule themselves online through your custom quote forms. So you can require a deposit for them to schedule before they can put themselves on your calendar. Now, to get the deposit, you do have to set up the Stripe integration to continue accepting payments, but we'll get to that. Preferences. So this is showing or displaying the quick start. So let's say if you've gone through the quick start, you don't want to see it anymore, you can just hide it and it's gone. And then payment methods. When you add a payment method, essentially you're going to have follow-up or builders. You're going to have customer messaging for invoicing. If payment is due, you can set up your Venmo, your PayPal link, or different payment processor. That basically you will create a token when you set it up. So like this will be payment _ underscore Venmo. So in your custom message, it'll with that token, it'll pull up these links. So when a person, says, hey, you send the invoice, you owe me $100, they can click the Venmo, be directed to your Venmo link, and then you'll get the notification, and you can mark that invoice as paid, and the payment method was Venmo. Once you set up payment processing with a Stripe, essentially it's a pretty simple process. You just have to have a Stripe account, have your banking details set up and verified, and then you can link the app to your Stripe account. So then people get an instant link where they can click the link, pay the balance, and the invoice gets marked paid, and the money goes right to your account. All right, the next thing to look at here is wood species. So it does come preloaded with extra, with just variety of wood, and so this is what you can use to start tracking your inventory and assigning it to your products. So this is where once you set up your inventory and you have the quantities on hand, and as you begin selling, you can say, you can show or hide products if they're available or not, and you can assign different things. So that comes in handy there. Unit types. This is where you customize the name and description. I'm not going to get into where you are in the country and what you call things, but everyone has a different word for things, and some things like face cord, you're not legally to call it that. So, but again, this is just where you set up the basic information about these items. And so where I'm at, I don't use ranks, don't use ricks, and we can say face cord. So this is what becomes available in my product selector when you set up your products for determining the volume of the wood. Service area. This is important. This is what's needed for adding customers, for giving them their information, the full information in their profile, for setting their city and state. Also, this is what calculates your delivery charges. And so you can add them individually. You put in, and I would recommend doing, city, state, delivery fee. We can say, 15. How many minutes? Or let's just say a minute a mile, and you can add the items there. Or the other way, you can search by radius. So let's say, do a radius of 20 miles and charge $3 a mile. Click search, and here you're going to be given all the zip codes, pretty much all the zip codes, it's just a good number of them. So you may find that you have to add a few for the smaller towns and cities that aren't picked up. You can select them all, and then let's say, I don't want to go to certain places, I can, uncheck them, and then add the rest. Now when you add them, now they're organized by alphabetically. And if you want to change a delivery, now you have the name, you have the delivery charge, and you have the miles to that area. Looks like I gotta change something there. Also, if you have an area that maybe you have it listed but you don't want to use it, just make it inactive, and then it won't show on the list. All right. So now we have our city and state and deliveries set up. Referral sources. So referral sources is when you have a customer and you want to see where the leads are coming from, you can track it by this. If you delete all these, you're going to get that button again that loads all of them. All right, customer forms. So this is where you can take the link. So I'll show you what this is, and we'll go through it more later. But this is the custom quote form that you get with the blazed here. Customers can go through, fill out all their information, put their address, the products, select their products, and then they're given the final quote with the option to schedule. Each step along the way, it does save their information. So if someone comes in but jumps back out, puts in this information, but not the rest, you can still capture their information to follow up with them. But we'll go into that later more. So that's a link to that. You can copy it, or you can actually embed the quote form on your website. So if you have a page we want to dedicate this or send traffic to on your website, have that on it, and you're able to view that same form. And again, you can choose the branding for it. And then the messaging is just a simple message form where they can reach out to you. And again, now this is where you see all the service areas you've set are on there and available. IP blocking, this is where, let's say you have someone that just seems to be messing with your website, and we track in those customer forms, we track who's sending them. And so if you see a number come through, you can basically just block it, and doesn't clog up your system. Now messaging, we have Twilio integrations and SendGrid. Twilio is very simple, kind of like the Stripe account you have to set up. You have to register, get your business set up, and then get approved for sending text messages. But essentially, once you buy a phone number and you put in your account ID and your token from the dashboard, it will you'll be able to send messages through custom phone numbers. But let's say you have just your regular cell phone number, and you don't have Twilio set up, it will basically just send through your cell phone. Actually, I know if I didn't say that right. When you do send messages, if you don't have this set up, you can just send the messages straight from your cell phone. Now, SendGrid is it's built into the app, so you just put in your. Sorry, I can't really talk and type at the same time. It's built into the app, and so you end up just putting in your information, and when you have outgoing emails, it uses your email address that you enter here into there. All right, click Save Changes, and then since I don't have Twilio entered, we're just going to use the platform default. And again, if you're doing Twilio and you're setting up two-way messaging, this is how you use this token in your webhook URL post, which you'll learn about more when you set up Twilio. Message templates. So again, we load our defaults. This is where you have your invoice pay number, invoice pay now emails, messages. Someone pays their invoice, they get a receipt email or a message. You can, when you're scheduling on the calendar, you can text people when you're on your way. So say you have today's jobs, click on the first client, say I'm on my way, sends them a message. And then when you're done and mark the job complete, you can then say, thank you, here's your delivery. Choose to add a photo to give them confirmation of the delivery. Invoice templates. Customers have asked to be able to set up invoices. So when you send out or print invoices, you can choose which one you use. This way you can customize the way things look and its coloring, so you can quickly identify what that invoice is and for. Payment reminders. So basically, when people have an invoice that's sent out to them and they haven't paid it, they can be given these reminders. This one, so basically you can say if it's due in 30 days, you say 3 days before, send them a message. Gives you the link and everything. And then when you can activate these, turn them on and off. So if you can set up different ones and kind of play with it, see what feels right for your company without overwhelming the customer. All right, team. This is where you can set up your account and give access to people. I would recommend not deleting or archiving the admin, but this is where you can set up delivery drivers, sales reps, bookkeepers, managers have full admin access, drivers, and office managers. So you can set the permissions for each of these to match your company to let them know what they can access, what pages they can access. They can only create and edit customers, but they can't delete customers or quotes or orders or invoices. Sometimes you don't want them to see these things. And then you can choose to save as a new template, and or yeah, for if you want to have custom things. So we can click a new. We'll just say we're going to add a. Just to make it easier, I'm just click a manager. So now we're going to have, I don't know, Steve Smith. Give him Steve at WoodFire.app. We'll just save his password. Alright, so now that I've created Steve, nope. Sorry. Looks like I need. Alright, we're just going to have him as a delivery driver. Alright, so now Steve can basically just check out orders, view his calendar, send his messaging. He can't really do anything. Maybe you can create invoices. Let's see. Driver invoices. If I wanted to do that. I don't feel like making that. Alright, so I'm going to add him as a member. So now we have Steve, and now he's labeled as a team member with some restricted access. But what he'll be able to do is, have his basic functions of logging in, seeing only specific information in the app, and checking out the work for the day and the like. Alright, vehicles. If you want to set up vehicle tracking and track your mileage, this is where you can add a vehicle and assign it to a crew. You can have multiple vehicles, and the system is flexible, so if you happen to take a different vehicle out one day, you can just that day you can just switch out the vehicle, and it won't affect any future vehicle assignments to the crews. But let's say we'll just have, not going to get into anything, just say 2020 black Tundra. 2020. Alright, add the VIN number if you want, any notes about the vehicle. Now we have this vehicle added. Alright, people do ask about how do we import customers or invoices. So again, this is where you need to have the service area set up first. When you set up the service area, what happens is, likely in your system, it's going to have the data, and I'll just say import customers, download template, and I'll show you what I mean. So when you open up the template, it's going to have fields, and these fields at the top, they have to be in this order and this name. So what you have to do is take your template and paste the fields in exactly how it is. Now what our software does is it will merge the city and the state, and it will find it, it'll merge them and then match them to your service areas, and if there's any new ones, it'll add new ones. And so you'll just have to double check and verify as you import the information. And then once you save the file as a CSV, then you can upload that file and be able to upload that information. Same thing with orders and invoices. It has the same function where you have the products, and it will either create or merge products. Again, everything is, you have to verify it, and then once you approve it, it will go through. Subscription, this is where you can go upgrade or downgrade your experience. And so right now I'm on the Blaze plan, so for me I don't need a downgrade, obviously. And that is the company setup. Once that's all done, you're free to move on to what I would recommend: products or inventory, products and services. All right, thank you so much.